Yes, I'm the president and owner of Dayton Associates, DetroitImmigration.com. I've been practicing immigration law for over 2 decades.
Have you ever seen anything like this before of what we're seeing in the country when it comes to immigration, when it comes to student visas, deportations, anything like that?
Yes, this is something much more severe and generating a lot of fear in the communities and panic and very sort of a harsh tone the way these immigration policies are coming in and a very unwelcoming sort of atmosphere for the country and way less travelers coming in and people are exiting. It's not good for the country. It's not good for the rights of everybody, actually.
Is your office getting a lot of calls right now from people?
Yes, yes. Getting calls from current clients and old clients too, just wondering, are they secure? Are they safe? Is something bad going to happen? Or, are their permits going to be taken away or whatever? And just a lot of worry. That's the best way to describe it.
Talk to me a little bit about student visas. We're seeing that they're being revoked at colleges across the state, the University of Michigan, Grand Valley State University, Saginaw Valley. Why is that happening?
No, that's unfortunate. These schools and education, it's supposed to be a forum of thought and free speech and expression of ideas. That's what makes a democracy great. We don't want to be told how to think and what opinion to have. But the administration's using rules, regulations, and they're overextending it. Adverse foreign policy consequences. If a student has an opinion or something, and to revoke the visa on that's just overreaching, in my opinion.
Do you think that, I mean, under the court of law here in the United States, are we going to see these students deported back to their country? I mean, or is it going to stand in a courtroom that they could get their visas back possibly?
Yes, again, it's so unfortunate. And a couple of things, unofficially, informally, just what I've observed is once a visa is revoked, subsequent officers are very hesitant to overturn someone previously. So it's kind of, again, unofficially, you have a black mark on your file, and officers are very, very reluctant to overturn that. So I don't want to be doom and gloom, but once revoked, just seems to be you're going to be stereotyped, and it's not impossible, but you might have a battle ahead to change that.
Have we ever seen this many student visas revoked in this amount of time? I'm sure that it happens all the time. You know, Michigan has a lot of international students and students who are here on visas, but have we ever seen this short of time span of those visas getting revoked?
Not for this, for trivial reasons and just for expressing opinions and things like that and overreaching. It's just not it's not what the laws were designed to do or intended to do. So I would definitely say no.
Oh, when a visa gets revoked, previously before this, why was it revoked?
Well, I mean, visas can be revoked for a number of reasons. It could be anything from, you lied on an application. It could be for reasons of somebody committed a crime or national security or a variety of reasons. And yes, if it's going to have severe foreign policy consequences, you can have your visa revoked on that, because you don't want to have bad foreign policy consequences for the United States. But, protesting on, one side of an argument versus another side of an argument, that's where it's a bit contentious. Is it really going to have the adverse foreign policy consequences that, these are just students after all?
Do they have
It's
to appear in front of a judge?
Well, if you get the visa revoked, there is a fear of being, there is due process. So there's an immigration court. They would have to place you in removal proceedings and say that you're deportable for the same reasons that the visa was revoked. So visa and status are two different things, but but they're similar. If they do go to that extreme and try to, I mean, the government try to deport, you should have a day in court where you can argue that that hey, I shouldn't be deported. I'm not breaking whatever immigration concern they have.
It's difficult to obtain a student visa, right?
It is difficult in so many different ways. You're in a different country and you have your hopes and dreams to come into this, and you're spending money. It's helping the US economy. You're bringing money in and paying tuition to get a better education, and families are saving up, sending their, kids here, and they have to pass all these admission standards and do all of this and then study in a foreign country and then it's devastating for the student and it's devastating for the student's family who've spent tens of thousands or maybe even over six figures on this education.
When it comes to switching gears right now, the
Yeah.
Supreme Court came down today and talked about Venezuelan. They can deport, the federal government can deport people back there. What's your initial reaction to that? Are you surprised by that decision by the court?
Well, according to the administration, there's an invasion. There's an invasion of immigrants, and using the Enemy Act from hundreds of years ago, which is designed to keep enemy soldiers or that type armies off of American land and be able to remove them, arrest them, but. It wasn't designed for immigration. We already have detailed immigration laws to deal with terrorism, criminals, immigration violations. It's already there. You don't need to add the Alien Enemy Act and treat them now like enemy soldiers invading your country. It's really just, looking through it. I think they really just want to have a shortcut to deportation and bypass people's rights. And the Supreme Court seems to be okay with that. There was a minority opinion that kind of saw through this whole thing, and it's like, this is really just a way to deport quicker, and they're just using some law. But unfortunately, Supreme Court said it's okay, and that's I'm worried about this expanding. I mean, who's an enemy? What do they look like? And it just they're going to go off of, do they have a tattoo of a certain kind? Do they have it's crazy.
You mentioned that this law was from hundreds of years ago. I believe that the law is from what, 1798?
17 something, I believe it was 1798. Yes.
I mean, that's a long time. And from your knowledge, has it been used since then?
I mean, I mean, older than I am, World War II and things like that. But that's a real war with real countries battling each other, not immigrant groups, and the thing is, right? Look, this has already been part of the immigration laws, and I've already seen it been overextended. Someone might have a family member or a neighbor or a friend who's from a terrorist group or something. Now they're a terrorist by association, or a random Facebook post has now made them a terrorist too, or whatever. So, or children who had some connection or contact at 10 years old with a terrorist group. And now with this Alien Enemy Act, I mean, they can be deported faster when they had nothing to do with it. So it's terrible.
I read a report earlier from Reuters that said that the Trump administration is going to use a 1996 law and charge people, I think that it's $998 a day if they stay in the country. Is that legal?
It's just, it should really be more about, more than just dollars and things like that. These are people who, are for the most part immigrants, have families, and they're just law-abiding, just want better life for their kids. And to charge 9.99 or whatever for every day, it's just it's just really ridiculous, just abusive, really. They should have immigration reform so that, like other countries, so you don't have such a fiasco.
Do you think that laws need to be looked at better here, so that there's not this overreaching, things that we're seeing right now? Do you think that there can be, the immigration law looked at?
Yes, and the politicians should agree and try to get immigration reform. Right now, it's every time there's a new administration, they put defective laws over the last defective laws, and now you have this hamburger of laws that don't make any sense from each administration. It's a mess. No, regular folks don't even know what the law is. It's so complicated now. And the thing is, immigration is like it's a good thing for the population. We don't have the birth rate to grow, and I'm not saying open the floodgates, but let's all countries have an immigration system. It's just except we just have to work together to make it work.
Do you think that that reform could be coming, or do you not see it?
Well, I think it's reform is an interesting thing. It depends on perspective. One administration may think reform is sort of the gatekeeper and keep people out and push people out, and another administration may say reform is welcome more people in. I think, but either way, the law should make sense and should be, functioning well. So right now, whether you want to be welcoming or whether you want to remove people, it's not working in either direction.
Is there anything else that you would like to add that we did not talk about?
Well, I mean, I still believe America is the greatest country out there, and immigrants should still consider it, land of opportunity and come to the United States. But if, you got to make sure your paperwork's in order. If you're stopped by immigration or whatever, have your paperwork in order. But remember, like all this stuff is affecting some groups, but there's so much more to immigration. So please don't give up on the country. And, I believe there's still opportunity here.
I just want to thank you so much for taking the time out to do this interview. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure. And, anytime I'd love to be back and talk more about my favorite topic.